Once upon a time, there was a young man named Jack, full of enthusiasm and big dreams. He was told the secrets to success by many. Study hard, get a stable job, save money, pay off debts, and invest in the stock market. Jack trusted this advice and diligently pursued it, hoping to achieve wealth and success one day. However, after years of effort, Jack realized that things weren't as easy as he had imagined. He saved every penny, but the gap between the rich and the poor only grew wider. The stock market was volatile, causing him anxiety and confusion. Jack began to question the outdated advice he had followed. One day, Jack met a successful man named Robert. Robert shared with him, "The most outdated idea is to go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, get out of debt, and invest long-term in the stock market. The world is changing every day, and this advice no longer fits our times." Robert explained that printing money wasn't the issue. The problem lay in its distribution. The gap between the rich and the poor was widening because money wasn't being distributed fairly. Instead of saving every penny, Jack needed to seek opportunities to create more wealth. He needed to broaden his horizons, learn new skills, and be willing to take risks. Jack took Robert's advice to heart and began to change his financial approach. He sought out new investment opportunities, learned about business, and expanded his network. Gradually, Jack realized that success didn't just come from money, but also from knowledge, skills, and perseverance. Each of us carries a complex universe within, filled with different selves that represent our desires, aspirations, and unique identities. The poor person inside us symbolizes our basic needs and the desire for essential things in life. This poor self drives us to seek safety, protection, and the bare minimum to survive. Alongside this, the middle-class person in us represents the desire for stability, control, and a comfortable life. They yearn to build a solid foundation, avoid risks, and aim for sustainable growth. However, besides these two, there's also a rich person within us, full of ambition and the drive to excel. This rich self represents the aspiration to conquer, create, and continuously improve. They push us to go beyond our limits, explore our potential, and achieve greater success. What's interesting is that these selves are always present within us, but not everyone is fully aware of their existence. Education and society often focus on developing certain aspects, leaving other selves hidden or suppressed. Therefore, the journey of self-discovery is about awakening and understanding these inner selves. By becoming aware of our inner diversity, we can harmonize our desires and aspirations, making the best choices for our lives. Let me tell you a story about two different dads. One was rich and the other was poor. They had very different views on money and work. The poor dad, my real father, always told me to go to school, get a good job, and earn a steady paycheck. He believed that having a secure job was the way to a good life. He worked hard as a government employee and always got a paycheck. But the rich dad, my best friend's father, had a different approach. He believed that relying on a paycheck was one of the worst things you could do. He never paid me a salary, even when I worked for him. He said that the moment you start depending on a paycheck, you start thinking like an employee and limit your potential. This drove my poor dad crazy. He'd say, "You have to pay people. Everyone needs a paycheck." But the rich dad wasn't against paying people. He just didn't want to become a slave to money. He believed in making money work for him, not the other way around. So instead of giving me a paycheck, the rich dad taught me how to create wealth. He showed me how to think like an entrepreneur. He believed that if you're always looking for a paycheck, you'll never learn how to make real money. If the rich dad had given up on this idea, I might have ended up just working for another company, stuck in the same cycle. But because of his lessons, I learned to look for opportunities and think outside the box. The rich dad would often say, "I don't need a paycheck. I don't need anyone to take care of me. If the government doesn't like me, I'll just move to another country because they need entrepreneurs there." This mindset is what set him apart. Being an entrepreneur wasn't just about running a business. It was about thinking differently, developing a unique set of skills, and following different rules. "You see," he would say, "I don't run a small business by following the same rules as a big corporation." Being an entrepreneur is first about having the right mindset, a distinct set of skills, and understanding different rules. Whether you're an employee or running a small business, the rules, the mindset, and the skills required are different. The rich dad taught me that being an entrepreneur meant always looking for opportunities, taking risks, and not being afraid to fail. He believed that success wasn't about playing it safe, but about learning and growing from each experience. This approach to life and business was revolutionary for me. He'd tell me stories about how he started with nothing but a small idea and turned it into a thriving business. He faced many challenges and made mistakes, but each failure was a lesson. He used these lessons to improve and find new ways to succeed. Being an entrepreneur is about innovation and resilience, he said. It's about seeing possibilities where others see obstacles. It's about creating value, not just for yourself, but for others too. Through his guidance, I learned that the entrepreneurial mindset is about being proactive, adaptable, and always ready to learn. It's about understanding that wealth isn't just about money, but about creating opportunities and making a difference. So, if you want to break free from the traditional path and achieve real success, start thinking like an entrepreneur. Embrace the mindset, develop the skills, and follow the rules that lead to true wealth and fulfillment. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who has never been an entrepreneur, but is thinking about taking the leap, what would you say? Well, let me tell you about my own experience. I remember my last paycheck very clearly. It was both one of the worst and best days of my life. I was in Puerto Rico working for Xerox when my boss handed me my final check. It wasn't just a regular check. It was a bonus check worth about $30,000 before taxes. When I got that check, I was both excited and anxious. I thought, holy mackerel, this is a lot of money. But then a colleague named John came up to me. He said, "You're going to come back." I asked him, "Why do you say that?" And he replied, "Because you're going to fail." John had left Xerox to start his own venture, failed, and then returned to the company. I looked at him and said, "Look, you may have failed and come back, but if I fail, I'm not coming back." And that's what happened. I took that leap and became an entrepreneur. And for many years, I had no money, no salary. But that's exactly what my rich dad wanted me to experience. He said, when you don't have that safety net, you get hungrier and smarter. It's a test of your character. Will you become a thief, dishonest, cheat, and steal? Or will you become a better person? The real benefit of being an entrepreneur is discovering who you are when you have nothing. You have to keep the big picture in mind. A lot of people worry about what's going to happen to me. But if you look at the bigger picture, you'll see that when something bad happens, something good is often just around the corner. You have to be ready for anything. If you think the next 20 years will be just like the last 20, you're mistaken. The world is changing rapidly, and you need to be prepared for those changes. So, my advice to anyone thinking about becoming an entrepreneur is this: be ready to face challenges, to fail, and to learn from those failures. Embrace the uncertainty and use it to fuel your growth. When you have nothing, you discover your true strength and potential. That's the real journey of an entrepreneur. You know, when you and I go to the supermarket to buy a carton of milk, we always check the expiration date. But most people don't check the expiration date in their brains. Instead, they just focus on getting out of debt, only to fall back into it. I recently refinanced $500 million of debt, lowering my interest rate from 10% to 5%. By doing that, I saved a lot of money because the cost of using that money went down. So while some financial experts say you should get out of debt, I say you should learn how to use debt. Let me give you an example. When I returned from serving in Indonesia in January 1983, the first thing my rich dad told me was, go learn how to invest in real estate. At first, I didn't understand why, but then he explained that using debt wisely can make you wealthy. He taught me that debt isn't something to fear, but a tool that can work for you if you know how to use it. Imagine you have a loan with a 10% interest rate, and you find a way to reduce it to 5%. Suddenly, the money you're spending each month on interest drops significantly, and you have more cash flow to invest or use in other productive ways. That's what I did, and it worked wonders. The point is, instead of avoiding debt, learn how to leverage it. Debt can be a powerful tool for building wealth if you use it correctly. My rich dad's advice on investing in real estate was a game changer for me. Real estate investments allowed me to use other people's money to generate income and build my assets. So, don't just aim to get out of debt. Aim to understand debt and use it to your advantage. When you know how to use debt to create wealth, you change the entire game. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. That's why continuous learning is crucial. Always educate yourself on new financial strategies, investment opportunities, and ways to grow your wealth. By staying informed and adaptable, you can navigate any financial landscape and come out on top. Remember, the key to financial success isn't just about avoiding debt, but mastering it. Learn to think differently about money and investments, and you'll open doors to a more prosperous future. It's not just about real estate, it's about how you use debt and taxes. Debt and taxes are what make the rich richer and keep the poor and middle class struggling. Think about it. Doctors and lawyers, even though they earn a lot, often end up with less money in their pockets. Why? Because they don't understand how to leverage debt and taxes. Let me give you an example. My doctor was so excited when he finally made $1 million. He proudly told me, "I made $1 million." I asked him, "How much did you pay in taxes?" He said, $950,000. So his net income was about $350,000. That's not bad, but it's a lot less than what he earned. When I make $1 million, I keep $1 million. The difference is I don't work for money. If you work for money, you get taxed heavily. That's why the first lesson in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is that the rich don't work for money. Instead, we create businesses as entrepreneurs. We invest in real estate. I don't put my money into the stock market because as an entrepreneur, I have more control over my income, how much I earn, and how much I pay in taxes. Because I'm both an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, I don't have to pay as much in taxes. So whenever I earn $1 million as an entrepreneur, I immediately invest it in real estate. For every $1 million I put into real estate, I can get $5 million from the bank. This is why I love banks. While it might seem like banks are ripping everyone off, they actually work to my advantage. When you're savvy about leveraging debt and taxes, it's a game changer. However, if you're just saving money or working for a paycheck, you're getting squeezed. The lesson here is that the system is set up to benefit those who understand how to use debt and taxes to their advantage. When you play the game right, you can keep and grow your wealth while others are stuck in a cycle of earning and losing money to taxes and debts. So next time you think about money, remember, it's not just about earning. It's about how you manage it. Learn to think like an entrepreneur, invest wisely, and leverage debt and taxes to your benefit. That's how you build real, lasting wealth. When debtors are crushed, the rich get richer. You see, debt and taxes make the rich richer, while debt and taxes make the middle class and poor poorer. When we cling to outdated ideas, we get outdated results. Think about the common advice: go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, get out of debt, buy a house because it's an asset, and invest for the long term. This advice is outdated. The world changed in 1981 when President Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard and money became debt. So, what happens if we stop following this old advice? Does it mean we should abandon education entirely? Absolutely not. I'm saying that while education was crucial before, the way we approach it now is outdated. The traditional education system was designed for a different era, an era where getting a stable job was the key to a successful life. But the world has changed. Today, we need to think differently. We need to adapt to a world where money is debt, and the rules of the financial game have shifted. Instead of just going to school and getting a job, we should focus on financial education. We should learn how money works, how to invest, and how to use debt to our advantage. We should teach our kids about entrepreneurship, real estate, and the importance of building assets that generate income. Imagine if our education system included classes on how to create wealth, how to leverage taxes, and how to use debt to grow your financial position. Imagine learning about real estate investments, starting your own business, and managing finances effectively. This kind of education would prepare us for the real world far better than just learning how to get a job. The point is, the world has changed, and we need to change with it. Clinging to old ideas about money and education will only keep us stuck in the past. To thrive in today's world, we need to embrace new ideas and learn the skills that will help us succeed in a rapidly changing financial landscape. So, let's rethink our approach to education and financial success. Let's focus on learning how to make money work for us, instead of just working for money. Let's teach our children how to build wealth and create opportunities so they can thrive in this new world. People are throwing money away. Like I always say, savers are losers and money is a waste. Yet people still say, I want a high-paying job. Well, that's an outdated idea. Getting out of debt is also an outdated idea. You need to learn how to use debt to get rich, and they'll never teach you about taxes. The reason the top 1% are here and the other 99% are over there is because when you print money, two things happen: inflation and taxes. These things crush the middle class and the poor. And any entrepreneur who thinks, I'll just make money and start a business and get rich, is missing the bigger picture. Here's what's really happening. As more money is printed, inflation rises. This means the value of your money decreases. So even if you're saving money, it's losing value over time. At the same time, taxes are eating away at your earnings. If you don't know how to manage these forces, you're going to struggle. The rich understand this. They know how to use debt to their advantage. Instead of fearing debt, they learn to leverage it to create more wealth. They invest in assets that generate income and appreciate in value, like real estate and businesses. They also understand the tax code and use it to minimize their tax burden legally. For instance, when I make $1 million, I don't just stash it away in a bank account. I invest it in real estate. This way, I can leverage the bank's money to multiply my investments. If I put $1 million into a property, I can borrow another $3 million from the bank. Now, I'm controlling $4 million worth of assets. And because of how the tax system works, I can often defer taxes or reduce them significantly through these investments. This is how the rich get richer. They use the rules of the financial system to their advantage. So, if you want to succeed in today's world, you need to rethink your approach. Stop thinking about high-paying jobs and start thinking about how to make money work for you. Learn about investing, understand how to use debt, and get educated about taxes. The world of money is changing fast, and if you stick to outdated ideas, you'll get left behind. Embrace new ways of thinking. Educate yourself on financial strategies and take control of your financial future. Remember, the goal isn't just to make money, but to create wealth that grows and works for you. That's the mindset that will set you apart and help you thrive in a rapidly changing world. Most people think they're entrepreneurs just because they're self-employed, but that's not entirely true. Self-employed people often end up paying higher taxes than everyone else, and no one tells them this. Yes, it's called entrepreneurship. But what we're really talking about is the difference between seeing opportunity in any economy versus being at its mercy. You see, we all operate within two economies, the external economy and our personal internal economy. The power of your mindset can change your internal economy. For me, I can see both the good and the bad in any situation. Honestly, it doesn't matter because I know I will be wealthy no matter what. But a poor person with a poor internal economy only sees a bad economy. They don't know how to make money in any situation. A middle-class person has a middle-class economy mindset. They want a nice house, a steady paycheck, a job, and a car. When you take those things away, it's a disaster for them. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, don't rely on jobs, so losing a job isn't a big deal for them. What I'm saying is what Bucky Fuller taught me. There are always two sides. If you think the economy is bad, that's because your internal economy is bad. If you believe that stability and jobs are everything, you'll see a world without jobs as a disaster. There's the external economy, which you can't control, and your internal economy, which you can. This concept is known as having an internal locus of control versus an external locus of control. A true entrepreneur focuses on their internal economy. Even if they fail, they see it as a chance to climb higher. For instance, during economic downturns, while many see despair, entrepreneurs see opportunities. They understand that by adjusting their internal economy, how they think, plan, and act, they can thrive regardless of external conditions. They don't wait for things to get better. They make things better for themselves. Think about it this way. When everyone is panicking and selling off their assets, a savvy entrepreneur is buying at a discount. They're looking for the next big opportunity, investing in their education, and finding ways to add value. They know that their success is determined more by their internal mindset and actions than by the external economic conditions. So, next time you hear about a bad economy, remember, it's all about perspective. Your personal economy is what you can control. Focus on improving your mindset, your skills, and your ability to adapt. That's the real secret to thriving, no matter what's happening in the world. You know, when most people face setbacks, they might say, "Oh, I need to take some Prozac," or they get discouraged by their mistakes. But mistakes are important. They show you what you didn't know. A real entrepreneur, whether they stumble or rise, always finds a way to move upward. They can fall down and still get back up, stronger than before. No matter what happens to them, they become stronger, better, smarter, and happier. But a person with a weak internal mindset often fears what might happen. And guess what? Those fears usually come true. It's like people who are afraid of losing their job often end up losing it. You get what I'm saying, right? Everything flows through your mindset. So the first job of an entrepreneur is to control their internal world, not just the external one. The moment you truly understand this, you stop being just an employee and start thinking like an entrepreneur. You have to be stronger than the challenges you face. It's about internal control. An entrepreneur knows that the real battle is within. When you master your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, you can handle anything the external world throws at you. This internal strength allows you to see opportunities where others see obstacles. For instance, if a business venture fails, a true entrepreneur doesn't see it as the end. They analyze what went wrong, learn from it, and come back with a better strategy. They don't let fear or failure define them. Instead, they use every experience as a stepping stone to greater success. A weak internal mindset, on the other hand, crumbles under pressure. If you're constantly worried about what might go wrong, you're more likely to experience those very problems. But with a strong internal mindset, you approach challenges with confidence and resilience. You understand that setbacks are temporary and can be overcome with perseverance and innovation. So, the key takeaway here is to focus on developing your internal strength. Cultivate a mindset that embraces challenges, learns from mistakes, and always looks for ways to improve. This internal control is what sets successful entrepreneurs apart from the rest. Remember, your greatest asset is not the external resources you have, but your internal resolve and determination. When you master your internal world, you can create success in any external condition. That's the true power of an entrepreneur.